Welcome to Tottenham On Tour. This is an afternoon with the two Brians on Tottenham On Tour. I am, of course, blessed with the other Brian. How are you, sir? Good to see you, mate. You all right?
Very, very good, my man. It's an afternoon for North America. It's an evening, early evening
Yeah, true.
for,
It's
for North London and everyone in Europe. But we'll go with afternoon because we're Canadian. So
yeah, we're starting in the afternoon, my time, and we are Tottenham On Tour. We are not Tottenham at home.
exactly.
So we gotta stick with hopefully the people who are watching. There's a few of them now who have tuned in. So welcome to this channel. Welcome to the show. We're going to talk a bunch of stuff. We're going to talk Vitesse away in Holland. We're going to talk some of the performances. We're going to talk about obviously West Ham. That we're going to do a bit of a preview for West Ham and what we think we'll expect. And yeah, looking forward to it, brother. We've also, I just want to shout out to Ronan. We always get Ronan, like the Liverpool fan who shows up on all of our channels. I love it. You can say hi to me too, by the way, Ronan. Just kidding.
Yeah, not only does he show up on every channel, he's always commenting. I actually speak to him on social media as well.
Nice.
We need to arrange a call because Ronan is trying to do something that I said I'll help him with, and he's just unbelievable. This is what I love about it. It's not just Tottenham fans; it's fans from all over the place. And Ronan follows absolutely everyone. I want to give a big shout out to Adam as well.
Yeah,
who's finally starting appearing on streams, and he's going to come on a stream with us very, very shortly. This guy is incredible. Another person that I speak to regularly. And hello to Anthony. So it's great to have all these people in here on a Friday night.
Say as well. The next Spurs play Liverpool. Let's do a opposition preview of it. We'll get you on. We can have a chat. Brilliant. Be a lot of fun to do that with you for sure. Finally get him on the channel, and always see him in the comments. And I'm like, oh man, somebody who supports another club to do that is it's impressive. So we do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. It's been a bit of a strange week for Tottenham Hotspur. Not I don't think unexpected. I don't know. I was sort of expecting. If you follow our Twitter, you would have seen that my comment was I like the starting lineup, but I'm not confident. And I stand by that. I don't know how you felt about it, so let's talk a little bit about that. The starting lineup was obviously 11 different players. There's a bunch of fringe players there. There's a bunch of players who are, as we were talking about just before we went live, senior players like the Harry Winkses and the Dele Allis of the world that should be able to go to these situations. This is a Harry Winks who performed against Barcelona in a Champions League and it was dominated a midfield against some of the best players in the world. So you'd expect him to be able to go into this situation and perform, and we didn't see that. We didn't see the team really perform. They looked disconnected, and I understand that they also don't play together a lot. In this context, and you're going away from home, you're going against a team that is, they're sixth place in the Dutch league. Doesn't necessarily tell you everything. They're a good side. They're really well organized. They pressed really high. Their fans were right behind them, so it was a really intense atmosphere. I actually thought the 1-0 was like the right scoreline based on what we saw. What did you think of it? What was your thoughts on that performance? We'll get into individuals, but just as an overall performance from the team.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I think the 1-0 flattered us. It could have been more. We're a bit small. Let me just say hello to someone I haven't seen in our chat for a while. That's the man.
Tim, man. I was going to say the same. What's up, Tim, man? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you back, buddy. Always a pleasure. So, do you know what? I was looking at it this morning, and when we played Newcastle, you would have said we had a very, very strong bench against Newcastle. That whole bench travelled, and then you put them in a game like this, and you would have thought that's enough to see you through, and you would have thought, not just the youngsters, and there were a host of youngsters on the bench. Obviously, the bench was
the bench was basically like our the best in the academy, essentially.
Exactly. And you would have thought that these players that were on the subs bench, especially with a huge game against West Ham and big games coming up, this is your opportunity to stake your claim and say, do you know what?
I want to be in the first side. I deserve to be.
I don't want to be travelling here. I'm not happy with playing in this team. I'm going to show you, and I know we're going to talk about Dele Alli in a lot of depth in a minute, but against Mura and yesterday, he's on his day, he should be able to dictate that game, and Winks in the midfield.
Two of them together, that spine, that midfield spine, I think when you take into account Davinson Sanchez, senior player, plays for international team at Colombia, Harry Winks has played for international for England, and has played in the Champions League at the highest level. Dele Alli, we know what Dele Alli's done and what we would expect from him. The only person in that spine, or the only two players in that spine, are the keeper and the striker. The keeper played in Italy, Galini, good player. You know, I still don't think he's the level remotely close to what we need as a backup, but he still should be good enough. And of course, poor Dane Scarlett, who 17-year-old kid who's it's really showing what didn't get done in the summer is really affecting our ability to score goals without a backup striker. It's just
but also, as I said to you, Brian, in that starting lineup, there were 9 full internationals.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I said when you look at the lineup and I posted on Twitter, I'm like, this should be enough, but I'm not confident. It should be, and this is the issue that I'm noticing, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well. I'm noticing this, like, and this could just be something to do with a new manager trying to figure out how to get them motivated. There was you could see bad body language. You could see lack of understanding. You could see lack of what decision making when it comes to what it is that they should be doing on the pitch. That was really obvious to me. Was that obvious to you as well?
Completely. It's so embarrassing when you look at it. The only thing we can take from this is Nuno knows who he can trust, and he's established that quite rapidly. Quite rapidly. He's like, right, I completely think he did the right thing leaving the 10 at home.
I do as well. I had no issue with that from a coaching perspective. I know some fans did, and if you do in the comments, tell us why. Because for me, I thought, knowing what it means in the league coming up this weekend against a West Ham side who are arguably our rivals at the moment for like 6th place, so it's an important 3 points. I thought he made a great decision.
Listen, he completely did. Some people say maybe he should have taken a couple of seniors to be on the bench,
but we had seniors. We had seniors in the team.
No, but I mean, from
3 of them in that spine. I said David.
But Sanchez. I mean, from that Newcastle team. But it's like,
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's like, even if they were on the bench, they wouldn't have been able to change anything because it was just so weak, so poor. And then what made me more annoyed with the senior players is, obviously, did you see Ben Davis's interview?
I did not. What, post game?
Post game. So Ben Davis blamed the pitch, the referee. What's up, Lappers? And he also said the fans were very, very intimidating. Well, you get that every single away game. Ben
Davies said that? Ben Davies, you're an international,
Ben Davies said that in his post. But the worst one is, have you seen what came out on Twitter today with Harry Winks?
No.
I'm going to read this out. I'm going to find the picture and read this out. Here we go. Harry Winks. Winks admitted he only had himself to blame for his situation, but says he wants regular football and talks with Nuno. He also suggested the decision to leave the first 11 at home last night might have impacted morale.
Now, I want to talk about that. Because I do think that is the question. It doesn't impact morale, and arguably it will to some extent. But this is the point. This is the point that I think Nuno should be making, and arguably might have been in this case, is that it shouldn't impact morale in the sense that I'm not going to play well. It should impact morale in a sense is I've got to step up. I want to be in that first team at the weekend.
Exactly.
That's the impact of morale. If you're whinging about it because you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm like, I think maybe people weren't happy. If you weren't happy and you were whinging about that, fuck off. I maybe didn't make it to 10 minutes. Sorry. Fuck off though. That to me is like, that says everything about your mentality. Something I realized about Winks, and this, it saddens me because I fucking loved Winks when he started breaking through. It was like one of our own. If you watch him before his injury in our midfield, he was dictating play. He was almost like copying Dembele as well. Dembele. So he was playing really well, and then he got the injury, and he was fucked. But if you watch that the documentary, the all for one or all in one or whatever,
All or Nothing.
All or Nothing, thank you. The All or Nothing documentary, he got scared when Mourinho got appointed, and there's a part in that documentary where he's like, he looked up at the camera and he was just kind of like, he looked scared, he looked terrified, and I was like, you're a professional footballer for one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you're nervous about a really good manager that is probably going to make you better. It just told me everything about his mentality, and I think that's what we're seeing, is that his confidence is so fragile, and it's really, really difficult to try to get him to play at the level that he needs to. And I don't think we'll ever see it again, sadly. And I like I said, I was a Winks fan. I was similar to Simi. I know Simi held on to his Winks fandom for far too long. So did I, because I was like, I want to see our players that come through the academy do really well, like Skip's doing right now. And I think Skip will stay at that level, if not, surpass it considerably, as long as he can stay fit. So it's really hard to watch that with Winks, though.
Well, there's a couple of, I mean, this happens now because there's an acceptance of mediocrity within the club. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever. Like I've been saying recently, when players get to semi-finals and finals and don't make it, normal clubs say, okay, we've got here, like they say with managers, you've taken us as far as we can go, and they bring in reinforcements. Well, we give them new contracts.
Yeah.
And then I watched, and Brian, you wouldn't have been able to watch it unless you found a way to do it. I only realised a couple of days ago that I haven't been able to watch the sensational documentary.
I haven't seen it yet, but I need to.
Because it's not available on Canadian Amazon or whatever you want to say. So I was able to watch it here. And there's an interview with Thierry Henry. And when Thierry Henry is talking to Heung-min Son, he says, you know what, even in the Invincibles, the amount of fights we had in the dressing room after the game because someone had a bad performance or whatever.
Accountability.
And they used to say Jens Lehmann went mad because if you let in a goal, it was like, well, you might have scored 4 or 5. How did it look for me? My job is, and they said they literally used to argue the whole time because they want to make themselves better.
Yeah. That's the sign of a team that care about results and want to get to the highest level possible. I even just in Sunday League teams I played for Sunday League teams that are like casual and having fun and whatever, and then I played for Sunday League teams who are just like, we're gonna win this league, and it's just mentality. It's just a different way to approach it, right?
I mean, you saw it on the actual All or Nothing. You saw when Lloris went for Son.
Yeah,
and Mourinho.
Love that.
I did love that because Son sometimes doesn't track back. All right, he does so much going forward, but it's about getting back into shape.
But you've also noticed Son hasn't done that again since. You know what I mean? Like, he's not lazy at all. And I think that's the thing when you have, and all credit to Lloris for that, because I think that's captain. That's what captains do. Yeah. They get the best out of the best players, and they put them in a position where they're like, what do you mean? You're like, I'm not good enough, or I didn't do something that was good enough. And they point it out, and then you don't see them do it again. That's impressive. I thought, I love Lloris. I do think the captain should be in the midfield, but I do think that Lloris, is underrated in many different ways. Do you want to bring up that statistic for Delhi? Because I think we got to get it out of the way. I really.
Yeah, I mean, have you brought it up, or do you need me to read it all out?
No, I've got it up. I got it ready. We'll just pop it on screen here.
This is Delhi, so we're going to talk a bit about Delhi and his shocking performance. I don't know if you guys can see this, so I'll bring the picture up.
It's on screen. I'm sharing it. So.
Yeah, I know, but I can hardly see it, so I just want to make sure the viewers can. So
okay,
we'll quickly read it out. Let me just find it. So
I can read it. I'm looking at it.
Here we go. I've got it. So 90 minutes on the pitch, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 key passes, 0 shots on target, 0 dribbles, 0 tackles, 0 interceptions, 0 clearances, 0 blocks, 0 fouls won, 0 crosses, lost 1 out of 0 out of 1 long balls, 0 out of 8 ground duels won, 1 aerial duel won, and 2 fouls committed. It's absolutely appalling. Do you know what? You could have put a cardboard cutout of him, and it would have done the same thing.
I did not see him participate in the game for the most part. It was like, what is he actually supposed to be doing? So I don't even look at the statistics anymore, because it was zeros across the board. It's like, what is going on there?
So first of all, a simple way to look at it is Arsenal and Chelsea in the second half were our worst performances, and this one. He was on the pitch and Ollie Skip wasn't.
Yeah.
When Ollie Skip's on the pitch and Dele Alli isn't, there's such a difference. And you know what? With Dele, I mean, as you know, I've been saying this for a long time with him. I've been saying I want to get him by his dreadlocks, swing him round, and wherever he lands, they keep him.
Yeah. Just
but again, this is because we accept mediocrity.
I want a question for you, Brian. This is to that point, mediocrity, and sorry to interrupt, but it adds to the conversation. You know, we talk about this that how comfortable is Lucas Moura's even said this to different players that have come in that are Brazilian or speak Portuguese, and he's said to them that it's a great place to play. It's really comfortable. We have this like very expensive training ground. We have pillows. We have places where they can relax. Is Spurs become a place to go where the grit and the edge of football is almost non-existent because of the amount of money that's been spent on pampering these players, that especially these players that are supposed to be, you know, are big players like a Harry Winks and like a Dele Alli? Is that what do you think that there's a part of that? Like it's almost like they're so fucking spoiled now that it's just that you don't get that energy. You know, like, oh, they're not sitting on a hardwood bench. It's soft and their butts are soft and they get all their everything is overly they're pampered to. Do you think that's a thing? Am I talking out of my ass here, or is that, do you think
no, I can see your point, but listen, it's not just Tottenham Hotspur. We just know a lot more about Tottenham Hotspur.
I agree, but Tottenham are the upper echelons of that with what we've just done,
without doubt. Now,
new stadium and the new training ground, and
like the thing that when they stay at the Hotspur Way Hotel, they've got the same bed as what they have at home. I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant because they're used to that mattress. Some of the things they do is just like, oh my good God. But it gets to the point where you're looking, when you have all of this, you should be performing at your peak. And the very fact that these senior players feel that it's acceptable to put on a performance like what they just shown, I just wish it was back in the old school with the Brian Cloughs and
I think this is the thing. This is what I'm trying to get at here. I think there needs to be they need to find a balance on how to do both, right? You can have all of the luxuries for the players when it's necessary. If they get injured and they need the right, you know, the right sort of pampering to make sure that they get fit again. But to keep them playing at a really high level, a physical high level, and with like grit. Remember when Dele Alli first came, he was always like, oh, it's gonna be an ugly tackle. He's gonna get a yellow card. I like that Dele Alli. That Dele Alli was like gritty from MK Dons, had an edge to him. As soon as he came to Spurs, Kaputski, that edge, that thing that you liked about him, that playing on the edge, that players who play on the edge, when they do that and they're performing at their highest level because they will do anything to win, because that's what matters the most. We're not seeing that right now from Dele Alli. He went from being that type of player to what was the point? Somebody put in the alley Jack Sparrow. It's just this sort of, he's become like a joke of himself. He's just sort of, you know, it's such a sad situation.
Do you know what it is? And I've heard this been said on a lot of streams, and I can kind of get this, but it goes back to my original point and my really unknown feelings about the board. When he was at his peak, he had a Wanyama, a Dembele, and an Ericsson. Okay, they've got a Skip and a Højbjerg, but let's face it, Dembele, Højbjerg I love to pieces, but he's got to get up there. Skip is getting there, but there's no Ericsson. So the three players he had to protect him and allow him to do what he did.
He's missing the delivery. Yeah, but he has to become the one who creates it now.
Exactly. So
because of who he is, right?
Well, this is what happens when you sell your star players. Like when we said if Kane had gone, we knew some would step up.
Yeah.
When players go, you're going to say, okay, now I'm
going to replace them. Right?
I'm going to step up. This is the big time, and it's not even that now. We've had it with Poch, Jose, Ryan, and now this. And I said it even when he had a good game against, and he had his 6-pack. Do you know how many times he said, "I'm going to train harder and be better"? And look at the Arsenal game. After the Arsenal debacle, he should have been literally right. The next few games, I'm going to absolutely smash it. But he does and offers absolutely nothing. And it's got to the point now where he either needs a loan like Jesse Lingard and come back, and then we either evaluate and sell him, whatever. Yeah. And when it comes to selling him, I would take 10 million for him. In fact, I'll take 5.
I would take anything from him at this point because he's fucking useless. But I do think we could still probably get 25 to 30. And that would be probably.
He wanted 40 for Winks.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, of course, that's just Daniel Levy being Daniel Levy. All right, well, we talked enough about Dele. He's crap. He needs to go. I see. If anything is to come of the choices that the manager made in this game, is that he probably definitely knows now which players want to play for the badge, want to step up.
I've just got to bring this up because can you imagine with Lapper saying if it was Fergie, the hairdryer.
But it's a different era though, and I agree with that, and I think that's true. It's just that is not the players now. We just talked about it's not just Dele Alli. Look at Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is exactly the same, just in a different club. He's like he's lazy. He wanders around the pitch. He's got tons of skill, but doesn't work doesn't work hard at all. So same type of player. It is mentality. It is like a lot of the younger players are like this. They've been like given this sort of soft situation that makes it easier for them to just make a ton of money and not really work for it. But I wanted to talk about just some of the other performances quickly. So, we talked about Harry Winks crap. I don't know. There's not much to add to it. He didn't do any of the things that you need him to do in a game like that. He should dictate it, right?
Do you know what? Since he's kicked the tea bag into a tea cup, he hasn't been able to kick a football.
Yeah.
And
somebody created a highlight reel of Harry Winks from 2016, 2017, and I was like, that fucking where did that player go? It's clearly an injury issue and confidence. Both of those things, I think, piled on top of each other. But there was and of course, the fact that somebody actually made a highlight video of Harry Winks is just funny in itself. But it was incredible. It was the turning, the quick thought, the passing, the forward passing, getting between the lines, the pirouettes. He looked like Dembele. Like it looked like he had been watching him. That went as soon as that injury happened. That stuff went away. Harry Winks is just crap.
Again, it goes down to the acceptance of mediocrity. But the thing is, and I said this during the summer, don't get me wrong, we got rid of Aurier and Sissoko, and they needed to go. But Lamela wouldn't have done this. We needed to get rid of people that are poisoned.
We miss Lamela, like really.
And Lamela would have run his heart out.
Sell Dele Alli, keep Lamela. We probably would have made a one.
Lamela would have run his heart out. And it's, what, you have it with all clubs that when you're a homegrown talent, you get that little bit. Even the manager coming back as the next player, you get that little bit of breathing space. But we don't ship these players out. We're just giving you contracts.
You're right. It's a massive problem in recruitment and how to manage a squad. And again, you look at teams who do it well and do it right. It's if a player is really, really good, and like Liverpool is an obvious example with Coutinho. Sold Coutinho for 140 million, replaced him, ended up winning the league in the Champions League in the next few seasons. That's what you're supposed to do when you understand football and you understand how to cycle through teams and remain relevant, remain quality. And Spurs have not done that, like, ever, that I know of. So again, that goes to our position that we think that the people at the top of the team in the club aren't doing the job that they need to be doing. Maybe they're sort of trying, but it's not working, and it's clearly somebody with a football brain needs to do it. Hopefully we'll see that, but at this point it's hard to accept. Any other players that was there any performances that we liked at the game on Thursday?
Well, you know what? First of all, I just want to talk about Dane Scarlett.
Yeah.
Who looked crushed.
Shattered again at 17. You're just like, what are we doing to this guy? It's such a shame.
First of all, the goalkeeper diving for that yellow card was just...
Yeah, he should have got a penalty, that yank on the shirt too. There was some bad refereeing in this game that should have benefited Spurs. And that it was blatant, right? Now, and why is there no VAR in this league?
Because it's such a shit.
I know, but because those stadiums don't have it. When we go away to Vitesse, they don't have the facility.
But I made the point yesterday with Scarlett, because I've said, and so has Bob Spur, that Scarlett needs to play in a game alongside a Kane or a Son.
I agree.
He's got someone of pure quality
that
will help him through, not just the mixed match team. And I said, you know what? When Owen broke through Liverpool, he had Robbie Fowler there, who had been through the exact same thing.
Yeah.
When Robbie Fowler had come through, he had Ian Rush. When Wayne Rooney went to United, he had Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yep.
All these players have had strikers to see them through.
Is this a failure of the manager at this point, would you say?
It's not a failure of the manager.
No? Okay. Because I do think that he's had opportunities. So this would have been an opportunity to say, all right, we're going to go away to Vitesse. It's Holland. It's not that far. It's, an hour flight away. So the manager, and he knows we got to play West Ham at the weekend, but he could have said, all right, let's make sure we have a couple of key players that we know need minutes to maintain their levels. Arguably Tanguy and Nabele. You could have brought Tanguy, played him for 70, 80 minutes, make sure he runs the midfield. Also very creative, and could have given some. Lo Celso should be able to do that as well. But I would also say somebody beside him. So that Heung-min-Son relationship that he has with Kane, show Scarlett what that means, what that's like to have when you have somebody with that football intelligence. You could have done 2 or 3 key players in key positions to just make sure that this sort of fringy kind of team that we have play the level, or play at least the same style or way of playing that Nuno's attempting to try to get out of it, right? Like that was for me, as much as I was happy with the decision to leave him at home, because I think that this weekend's game is more important. I do think he probably could have just peppered it a little bit, just a little bit of pepper with the right players. So even Oliver Skip, you could have chucked in there, except that he's probably too important to do that.
Well, Skip has become vital for me. Skip and Højbjerg have to be the first
the two games that Skip didn't start or didn't play, were Arsenal and Chelsea, and we got dominated in the midfield.
Skip says everything. Skip has got the youth and has got the energy and could probably do it, but he's literally, because he gives something more to Højbjerg.
I was just going to say, he gives Højbjerg a license to box, which actually Højbjerg is quite good at.
He's become
for Kane
so vital. But then you've got to look at it. Son has just come back from Korea, may have had COVID, so he needs to rest. We cannot do without him. Harry Kane has just found it. If one of them had picked up an injury and couldn't play for West Ham, it would have been Nuno, what are you doing? But I can see what I want to see him doing is do Scarlett and Kane or Son in the home leg against Vitesse. And give him, whether it's the first half or the second half, but give Harry Kane, who can drop deep and create for him. And move. If Kane's playing,
play Kane if we're playing a 4-2-3-1, play Kane in the 10 behind Scarlett.
Play him in the 10, showing him.
Fucking Scarlett. I'm going to give you every ball you've wanted for the entire time you've been playing for Spurs. And get some confidence in that kid, because he needs it.
If they kept Scarlett on against Mura, and brought on Son and Mora, Scarlett would have scored.
Yeah, 100%. Why take Scarlett off? Again, I think there's some management failure in this. And like, if we're going to get the best of the Scarlett, or if at least that's what you're trying to do, like in those situations, and again in this situation, you could have sent a couple of senior players that would have done that in the situation that we needed it in. Kane comes on for the last 20 minutes, runs the game, leave Scarlett on though, puts Kane in behind him in the 3 behind the striker, and get him a goal. Get him a goal, because Scarlett needs to get a goal in one of these situations to get confidence, to start to believe that he can do it. He's 17. He's a child, and he's going to get diminished to some extent as far as confidence is concerned if he doesn't get anything in these games that he's being asked to play in a scenario where there's no service and no creativity. What did you think of Brian Hill's performance? Did you think Brian Hill was all right? I thought he had the most energy of any player, but he wasn't great. He gave the ball away a lot.
He was, and as I've said on this stream and others, we need to, like I said, not saying he'll be at the level, but like what Alex Ferguson did with Cristiano Ronaldo, we have to ease him in. Ease him in.
This is easing though, isn't it? Because it's Vitesse away in the Conference League. This is not Champions League. This is not even Europa League. This is not a big Europa League game.
What I mean by that, right, is the expectancy that is on him.
Right.
Because he's had 2 rough, fairly good games in the Conference League. All of a sudden, you have to start Hill. You have to start Hill. You have to start Hill. We want Hill. We want Hill.
Yeah.
And it showed yesterday, even against. Don't get me wrong, the players he was playing with are poor, but already we're singling him out as in he could be the saviour.
Yeah,
and it's kind of what we're doing to Scarlett.
It's wishful thinking, isn't it?
It is wishful thinking, and again, it just goes to show how bad this is. When, like I said, when you looked at the bench against Newcastle, you said, "Oh, that's quite a strong bench," but they all went to Holland, and it was just a mess. He has learned. He has now got to pray that none of those first teamers get injured. I mean, does he take some for Burnley? Or does he, because he's got United next? Does he?
I think you need to use him as a sub. I think that's the key, is to give Sonny some rest in certain games, not against West Ham, but in certain games you're going to go. Brian Hill is a left-sided forward who is probably the best in that position for him. Like that's where he plays the best. Sonny is one of the best in the world in that position. Frame what you're going to try to get out of Brian Hill with that. That to me is like learn to be Sonny. I was literally just about to post this as well from Craig. So do you want to read?
Brilliant. Craig's just joined the channel, and I've seen him a lot everywhere.
Cheers, Craig,
big up, Craig. Yeah. But it's just gone to show when we're talking about this. If you look at it, let's not be joking about how quick time goes. We're coming up to Christmas.
Yeah.
And our December schedule is absurd.
Yeah, it's going to be busy.
And this game management is absolutely crucial because he's got to keep people fit, because the Premier League is our bread and butter. We want to finish higher than we did last season, obviously, as every team does, but he can only do it with that 11. He can only do it with that 11, he's just got to pray. I say it, I know what's going to happen, but in January we do bits, but then it'll be, it's too big a market, it's too expensive, it's hard to... It'll be
we know the flaws of the market. We know the flaws of our management, and that's something we can obviously talk about. To Craig Bowler's point, I just want to point this out because we were talking about Scarlett. This is something I noticed a lot. Scarlett was on the ground a lot. Now he was on the ground a lot, not necessarily because he was fouled, other than the one that was clear and should have been a penalty. Where he was dragging a shirt. He needs to be told by management and by the players in that position, you need to stay on your feet more. Despite obviously being fouled too a lot, but he just goes down really easily and looks up, and you're kind of going, come on, he's young again, he's 17 for fuck's sakes. It's hard to give him a hard time. Exactly. But that means that he's being played in a time, in a position, in a scenario that is above his age, and the management needs to recognize that and to keep him confident and happy, and bring him in, or if you're going to do it, like we just talked about, have Harry Kane. One other player before we get into the West Ham, because I do want to get to the preview shortly, is Giovanni Lo Celso. The difference between Gio Lo Celso and like when he plays for Argentina and when he plays for Spurs is fucking night and day. It's so strange. Now, I don't know that I think that's probably just system related, where he plays and what's expected of him. Obviously the quality of players around him, when you're playing with Messi and you're playing with some of the other Argentinian internationals, you're going to be better because you're going to be better with the players around you. They're going to be better. Their movement off the ball is going to be better. Their creation is going to be better. But he just looks a different player completely. What are your thoughts on Lo Celso in this game, in just sort of his performance, and again another lackluster kind of like, dude, you're Argentinian international. You need to be better. What the fuck?
So, what you got to remember, before COVID broke and changed the world, and I mean the first time when it broke, Son and Kane were injured, and if it wasn't for Lo Celso, we would have been absolutely.
I agree.
But his stats for goals and assists are pathetic. Obviously, he's had his injury problems. And then you look when he's playing for Argentina.
Is he being played out of position though, there, Brian, for the goals and assists? Because he, like, those goals and assists for I forget his previous club. Was it
Real Betis?
Betis. I was thinking Benfica, but Betis. I knew it started with a B. So for Betis and for Argentina, he plays higher up the pitch. He's more creative. He's either in a 10 or he's in a right side of a 3 at the front. He doesn't play in an 8 or a 6 where he's expected to be defending as much. Like, is that our issue?
He's actually playing on the left for Argentina.
Is he?
Yeah, he's playing, like you said, high up but on the left, and obviously Premier League.
He's a forward though.
Yeah, but obviously Premier League, Son's there. You're not taking that place. But that's what bugs me. Hill has flexibility and versatility, so he could have gone anywhere across that line, and you could have put Lo Celso on the left, where people in Argentina are waxing lyrical about how well he's playing for Argentina.
He's been brilliant. I've watched highlights, and I'm like, fucking hell. I watched the game he dictated the game. He ran the game. That's what we needed him to do in this situation.
Listen, we're playing a person that's excelling for his national country. Obviously his country, in a different position. We're playing Tanganga as a makeshift right back, although he's a centre back.
Which I have no problem with, by the way. I actually think he's a good right back.
But he's not.
He was actually one of the better players on Thursday for me. I actually thought he played pretty well.
But that's because he shows Harry Winks how to play for the club.
Passion.
And what that badge means.
100%.
But for me, Tanganga's best position
center half
is the centre of a 3. If we go back 3,
on the right side of a 3, yeah,
or finding a partnership. But he is a centre back that can do a shift at right back, not a right back that can do a shift at centre back.
I agree. Yeah.
And we have to address these issues, and it's just, do you know what? We've had so many rebuilds. We could build a community.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Brian, it's a recruitment issue, isn't it? And how you recruit, and then how you get to bring the. We could talk about Joe Rodon, which is sort of, you know, to your point here, which is, I think Joe Rodon. I think almost every Spurs fan I talk to are like, why the fuck is this guy not getting playing time? Like, he passionately, vocally, like getting his head on the ball, and when a cross comes in on a free kick or a corner, he is one of the best center halves we have at the moment. Why is he not getting game time? It's fucking bizarre to me.
I don't know. Obviously, we only see snippets of what goes on in the training ground, whatever. But listen, when Mourinho left for the last 4 games, he'd been our best centre back by a country mile.
Oh yeah.
Then he went missing under Mason. Then he was Wales' best defender. And yes, he's picked up a couple of injuries, but this goes back. This was picked up because we couldn't get Skriniar.
Yeah.
So we got him after the Premier League transfer window had closed, but the Championship window hadn't closed. So it was like, right, we couldn't get the big one, so let's go get the next best thing. Like you always say, a lump of coal, and let's hope we can turn it into a diamond. Now, everyone thinks he's got potential. Everyone does. But there's something going on where he just isn't.
Sorry, I just had to laugh at Craig's.
Oh, mate, listen, we've got to think it. There's got to be something in that team where people have got stuff on people, because it just, Joe, as fans, obviously I'm very, very outspoken in certain issues and whatever, and some other people are outspoken about other issues, but when not just people in the stadium but people around the world are calling this, you're like, well, wait a minute, I know I'm not the manager, I'm not a training, but you're like,
how is it so obvious to us, right? How is it so obvious to everybody else except for the management?
Exactly. And what's the harm in trying? I honestly believe, like, this,
give them a run. Give players a run of games, right? Like, you bring in a new player, you give them a run of games. We're seeing that now with Romero is going to get a run of games. That's what you do with a new player. Why didn't Joe Rodon get that? Like, why didn't he get a run of games?
When we started Rodon and Romero against Mura, I thought, okay, he's doing this to see if they could do it in the first team. To see if
but it was also Romero's like first game for Spurs,
but not the Mura one, because he played Villa.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, first 2 games, you're still a player's adjusting. Like, I think now we should know we're like in almost 9 games into the season, and you've been training with these players. You could look at them all and be like, what can be like, let's try this combination in this game and see what happens. And we're not seeing that. And I think, you know, I don't think Nuno is doing a bad job. I think he's been put into a position that is incredibly difficult with a team that is having to go through a rebuild that our previous best manager we've ever had in the Premier League said should happen 3 seasons ago or 4 seasons ago. He's having to deal with it, and there's a bunch of players still left over, and there's, of course, you know, the emotions and the shit that comes with that when you're a manager and you're trying to figure out how to deal with it. But if you just blankly look, okay, I'm going to remove all that, and I'm going to look at the quality, and I'm going to look at the leadership, and I'm going to look at what it is that they do on the pitch and how they function, ignore everything else previous to that. Our best 2 defenders right now, for me, when I watch our center halves in particular, it's obviously Romero. He's come in and we're a level up in that position. He has mistakes in him a little bit because he's very aggressive, but I like that in a center half. I think that's a good quality. And when it comes to communication, leadership, getting up for the ball, energy, it's Joe Rodon. Like, I want to see those 2 together in the center and see what we got. Tanganga would be Tanganga and Rodon. I could flip between the 2, but I think Rodon's a right-sided center half. So it's kind of like that's where Tanganga would normally play on the right side. So it unfortunately is a bit it pushes him out a little bit. But Rodon can play on that left side, and he's confident, and he speaks, and they yell, and he's into the game. Play him.
Listen,
let him make a couple of errors. Let him make a couple. He's going to. He's young, but he is a proper center half.
Listen, Eric Dyer made a silly mistake on Saturday. Yeah, what can Rodon do worse? No, and just
frustrating too. But sorry to interrupt again. But Dyer,
I was going to say, just before we go on to West Ham, Lappers, I'm here till the 5th of November. I fly home 2 weeks today. Like 2 weeks right now, I'm flying. I'm in the air, and I would have been in the air for 4 hours.
We'll be back in the studio. It'll be fun. And I think this is true from Adam too. I think he does have the ability to be on the same level. I think Joe Rodon has the ability to be on at least the same level as a peak Michael Dawson.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
He's that type of player. He's vocal, he's energetic, he gets his head on the ball. Yeah, he's a little bit like, he's a center half. He's not necessarily going to be the best on the ball, but that you have Romero beside him. Let him just do his job. Let him do his job. Let him communicate. Let him make sure that everybody around him and in front of him is going to make good decisions, because he does that. Every time I've watched him, he's more vocal than our captain. And not to slag Lloris, because I do think Lloris is pretty vocal. And we've kind of heard that when the pandemic happened, without fans, we heard a lot more from him. But I just think those are the players you need at center half. Those are the players that are going to make sure that everybody's in position on a dead ball. Everybody's going to be ready when the ball comes into the box. He's going to be yelling. He's going to be pointing out you. Every team I've played for, I've always wanted. Do we have a good center half? Because if we got one guy who could, because they'll run the game almost. Like, you got that, and it gives the midfield freedom. So yeah, frustrating. Shall we get to West Ham?
Let's get to West Ham.
Let's get to West Ham. Thanks everybody in the comments, by the way. Wonderful comments. Appreciate everybody who's here. 27.
Nicholas from Shelfside is in the building.
Yeah,
as well.
Nicholas. Hey, Nicholas, what's up, Nicholas? Good to see you. So we got West Ham at the weekend. West Ham are playing pretty good football at the moment. Like, it's a West Ham team that finished above us last season, and have been playing good. Like, they look good. Antonio, who's a player that I'm looking down at my phone because I'm bringing up some stuff. I want to make sure I got the statistics correct. Antonio, who's I think he's got like 5 or 6 goals or something like that. He's playing very well, and I think we have to be cognizant of that and be aware that
he always scores against us. Always.
Yeah, he will. This is going to be a difficult game for Spurs. Like I said, again, it's a West Ham team that are playing really well. We are above them. We're in 5th in the league. I don't know how that happened, but it's the league this season. We're in a good position in the league. We've won 2 in a row. We beat Villa, and of course we beat a pretty crap Newcastle side.
Yeah.
I think this game, and I want to know what your thoughts on this. I think this game is definitive to determine where Nuno has got this team, like his first team, because we know it's different than what we saw in midweek. Where are we? Because Newcastle finished above us. They're playing in the Europa League. We're playing in the Conference League.
Newcastle didn't finish above us, thank God.
No, sorry.
I'd be very worried if that happens.
You know what I meant. West Ham. I apologize. I misspoke. West Ham were finished above us in the league. They're in the Europa League. They are also playing well. Their recent results are good. They're not perfect. They're still a work in progress to some extent. But I do think we're like on par. What are you expecting? What do you think?
So first of all, Ronan, I'm not going to the West Ham game because it's at West Ham, but I will be in the We Are Tottenham TV studio doing the watch along. I am going to the United game. I will be at the Levy protest before, and then the United game, which will be my last game before I fly home. Now, West Ham, you know what? They're a team. Everyone works for that team, like we had under Pete Poch, where everyone worked for everyone. And you know what? They are playing as a team. They've got a few stars, but they are playing. Declan Rice, who, as you know, Brian, when we were watching the Euro final,
great
I was picking him up. I think he's outstanding.
He's the player that Man United need if they want to win the league ever again. He's perfect for Man United.
Outstanding, but their centre-back pairing is doing well. The 2 Czechs they bought for next to nothing last season.
Yep.
And do you know what? It's all changed for West Ham. Do you remember when the West Ham fans got a bit boisterous and started protesting in the ground and ran over and started protesting right in front of them, and then also confronted, which I don't condone, one of them in their car? You can't say that they haven't backed Golden Sullivan, they haven't backed Moyes. Obviously, we're not talking hundreds of millions or whatever, but you look at players. We were going for Bowen from Hull or wherever he came from, flying. We were going for Ben Rama, flying. And this team have bought into David Moyes, and David Moyes did a wonderful job at Everton. Then obviously Man U didn't work.
He did, and I think he got shafted at Man U because of the way things went down. I agree. I think actually David Moyes is a good manager, not a great manager, but he's the right manager for that level of club. Everton, where they were when he managed Everton, is where West Ham are right now when he's managing West Ham. So he can get results, and he understands a structure, and it's clear that the team believes in what he's doing.
Of course, and you're looking at Man U. It didn't matter who came in after Fergie, you were going to foul. It did not matter who came in. You were going to fail. That was the poison chalice.
Poison chalice, exactly.
You kind of wanted to be the second manager because then you got the Alex Ferguson syndrome kind of out the window. And I think the biggest competition and the biggest where this game is won is Sufel Rice versus Højbjerg Skip.
It's a solid battle. That midfield battle is going to be fun to watch.
It is won, and this is going to be a real indication of where we're going or what to expect. Now, Harry Kane normally turns up against West Ham, and obviously had a great game against Newcastle. But like I said, I need to see more before I say he's back. He's back.
I'm gonna just chime in on that quickly, Brian. I think he is back. His body language and of course his goal and assist, statistically are helpful, but his body language and how the team celebrated with him when he scored I've actually put him in my fantasy team, so I think everybody else should do the same. I was like, all right, it's Kane time now, because I actually think, and he loves to score in a London derby. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I think Kane's going to be massive in this game.
Like I said, Harry Kane showed a great performance. Now, obviously, because of what happened and the ongoings, he's got to do it a bit more. Now,
obviously, more times to be convinced, for sure. Yeah,
West Ham are going to be a lot tougher. But if we see that commitment and passion and desire from him, then I will say, do you know what? He's completely trying. That's 2 games in a row. As Craig Bowler said when Stealth that he was on We Are Tottenham TV, say the next 2 weeks are completely telling. We've got West Ham, Burnley in the Carabao Cup, Manchester United, Vitesse in the Europa League, and then I can't remember who's next in the Premier League. But this is where we're at, and this game we know this is West Ham's cup final. The one good bit of it, I think they've lost every game after they played in the Europa.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, and I think that's gonna be a big difference in freshness and this is why I was happy with what Nuno did despite the loss in the Conference League. That first 11 that played against Newcastle is our best 11. It's the best structure. The 4-2-3-1 with Kane, with Skip and Højbjerg, where Højbjerg gets to be a bit more box to box, and Skip is that solid. I'm going to control the game from this position. Who also passes the ball really well and allows Tanguy to get forward and do what Tanguy does. And Tanguy in that game against Newcastle was incredible. If he can get some form and do that 4 or 5 games in a row and coming into this West Ham game, and then free up Harry Kane to not necessarily feel like he has to always drop deep, but can get forward and score goals, and get that 3 behind him, and Son and Lucas Moura, who's also I thought was very good. It's the best lineup we have with the players we have. If Nuno has figured that out, which it seems like he has, because we've played it 2 games in a row in the league, and of course what he did with the team choice on Thursday, I think, based on West Ham playing on Thursday, that we have a very good chance of dominating them because of that Thursday game. What did they do in the Thursday game? Did you check the result?
So I think they won 3-0 and they took Declan Rice off with 30 minutes to go.
So that's good for them. Maybe what I just said is I'm full of shit.
Well, no, it's game management. You've got to remember, teams like West Ham now, who, let's face it, over the last season and this season, have been a very good team. Even commentators saying they're so entertaining to watch.
They've improved
when you're on this high level, when we had our last season at the Lane, you just want to play. Your adrenaline, your confidence, and everything will kind of will see you through. So you look at what, as you were saying with Ndombele, and Skip being there it's just going to show for a 20-year-old. He allows Ndombele to go forward and start being more creative, which allows Ndombele to go that little bit more forward and be creative, which allows Kane. And also when we lose possession, it's just a case of Højbjerg, who you know is going to get back immediately into shape. So Skip's introduction into this team, like I said, I think the 4 most important players on the team sheet for balance are Romero, because of what he's doing for the defence. All right, we're letting a couple of goals, but I can't remember the last time.
One of them was a pretty shoddy goal, and the other one was like.
But I can't remember the last time both our fullbacks had 2 good games in a row.
Yeah,
and I think that's Romero's come in and done that.
Quite good as well. I would have to.
Then Højbjerg and Skip and Lucas. I think that kind of diamond, if you want to call it, obviously interchange or whatever, has been the base to allow people like Son and Ndombele and Kane to do, because like I said, we played Kane in a 1 last game, and it made a huge difference.
I liked seeing Kane come deep last season because that's all we had, right? Like him coming deep and then feeding Sonny or Bergwijn or Mora, whoever's on the flanks. It worked really well, and it was good because Kane has the ability. But I would rather Kane do that sometimes, every now and again when it's necessary and there's space.
He was doing it in the second half against Newcastle. Some of his round the wall passes were.
His passing is always incredible, but I want him a little further up the pitch, and I also don't want him to necessarily be thinking that he has to do that. That we can get forward without him having to drop deep, meaning that we have more already forward. And that's what we saw against Newcastle that I thought from a balance perspective was really good. The balance in the squad looks really good. I think it's gonna be a great game one way or the other. And I hope Spurs not show up. I hope they show up to win the game, and they want to play, and they want to be creative, and they look like interested and excited and creative. And like, that's my biggest disappointment with Spurs this season is, especially that Arsenal game, is that just didn't look like they were there to play. And that's like, come on, this is North London derby. You guys should be up for this. Up.
Yeah.
This should be the game you're up for the most, especially away from home, because it's like, we haven't done anything in this game in ages. Let's change that. And we didn't see that. And I was like, oh my God, like, what's their attitude? Like, how are they thinking? And so we did see a good result against Newcastle, and of course, again, I thought it was a good result against Aston Villa, especially in the last little bit to get the result. So there's been improvements. We've started to look like we know what we're doing. There's a shape. That 4-2-3-1 works really well. Højbjerg getting an assist, Kane getting a goal and an assist. The players that we need to be performing are starting to perform, and of course, using, like you said, Skip as that base of that midfield is really, really helping. So. Do you have I hate doing the predictions, but do you have a sense of like, what do you think? Before we do predictions, if Spurs are going to win this game, whose performance is going to dictate whether we win or lose?
Ollie
Skippy, yeah, you're going to go with it.
I literally, I mean, for me, this kid is going to be in the next England squad.
He has to be. He's like,
I think this is the time where he's got to try players out, or at least get him integrated in it.
He's better than Phillips. I like Phillips, but I think he's better than Phillips.
From what I've heard, they're preparing a new contract for him. And like I said, we all know that Kane and Son are the two big hitters, and if they're on form, everything like attacking wise is good. But Ollie Skip has come in like when they weren't the same age, like when Vieira went to Arsenal. Like when Alisson and Van Dijk went into, now I'm not saying they're at that elite level at all, but that's
it's a difference maker, essentially, is what you mean. Right?
He has allowed. Liverpool needed a goalkeeper and a defender, so they went and got the best of the best that was available.
Yeah.
Skip has come in, and not only has he shown what he can do, but he's let other players
given them the freedom.
Like Højbjerg was doing the work of 3 people.
Yeah.
And literally, and you saw that against Arsenal when he was bad against Arsenal and running back was lazy, but Ndombele and Dele, it was literally like Højbjerg again. So Ollie Skip allowing the more talented and creative players and more seasoned players to go and do, and for Skip to know that as a 20-year-old, the whole team have that trust in him and faith and confidence. He is literally, I think he is vital to us, and at such a young age,
he's so good. It's incredible how good he is, and his football brain, I think, is just at that age, like you said, at 20 years old, it's just like, holy crap,
I can see him. Amazing. I can see him. Basically, it looks like we've found an identical replacement for Carrick. That's how big I think he's going to be.
I agree. I think he is that valuable. We saw what happened when he didn't start against Arsenal, which was a really strange decision for me. But again, I think that's Nuno still trying to figure out his best 11 and what it is he's trying to do. And Lapper says his loan to Norwich was fantastic. I agree 100%. Like that loan and what he did on the loan. This is the thing. Loans can fail miserably sometimes. We saw that with Harry Kane, despite where he ended up. You can go to a team and like sit on the bench and not get anything, nothing happens, right? Or you can, do what Skip did and go in and get a team promoted. It's basically on him. The reason Norwich are in this league right now is because of Oliver Skip, because of how good he was.
Well, the thing is as well, the Norwich manager came out because apparently Chelsea might take back Billy Gilmour.
Oof.
Because he came and said, "I'm not here to develop players to make them better for your team." I was like, well, wait a minute. Yeah. That's exactly what you did last season.
Loans are for, dude.
But obviously there's a golfing class, I believe, in stature and whatever, and build and whatever they're trying. You can't. If Billy Gilmore had gone there in the Championship, it may be a different story.
Yeah.
But you go into the Premiership where you've hardly played for Chelsea. It's a completely different ball game. Ollie Skipp's development at Norwich, and I remember when I was working at Booking.com, there was an English dude there who was actually a huge Norwich fan, and he was waxing lyrical every week. Oh my God, you've got to play here. And when Jose said he is a future Spurs captain,
I agree. I actually think he is like the Gerrard for a potential Tottenham team, if dealt with properly in recruitment and stuff. Could be the leader of a team that potentially wins the league or wins some trophies, because he's that good, and he's 20, and he's also physically, he's physically developed at 20 for the Premier League, which is not something you usually see. Usually it takes 22, 23 before you just start to see them build muscle. He's a fucking rock. Like, you see the size of him. He's a unit. He's like 6'2", strong on the ball. Really, he's quicker than he looks as well. He's not a slow player. So.
Well, notice that he's got the brain where Teddy Sheringham could see
positioning is incredible.
Teddy Sheringham could see things 3 moves ahead.
Yeah, and Skip does that.
I think Ollie Skip can do exactly the same. But some of his sliding tackles against Newcastle, like I think Adam said, Lappers or someone said about his sliding tackles. Oh no, it's Adam.
It's Adam who said it. Yeah, I posted
his sliding tackles in the Newcastle game were just unbelievable. His timing is. And the thing I've loved about him, remember I said that in the first few games he's picking up yellow cards quickly, and I was like, you're going to have to calm down in case you're going to. And he's done that. He's more disciplined. He's
maturing every game he plays.
Yeah,
and it's not over a full season. It's over a game. You see him make an error, and he doesn't make the error again. That's the sign of a player who is just going to be at the highest level, and it is playing at the highest level. But is still going to get better, which is I'm very excited for Skip. I do think we have a chance of getting a result in this game. My head's telling me, like my honest head's telling me, it's probably like a draw is likely, because I think both teams are playing at basically the same level. It will come down to specific performances. It will come to that midfield of this one that Nicholas Collision said. This is where the game will be won or lost. Completely agree. We spoke about it a bit earlier with the midfielders, and they have a very good midfield in a similar type of midfield. Like if you look at Rice and Souček and you look at Skip and Højbjerg, they're very similar in how they play, the physicality of it, the style. It is very similar. So I do expect that's going to be the case, and they'll be up for it. Let's hope that Spurs go away from home in a in a London derby.
I forgot about this. I'm talking about the yellow cards. Paul Ross, he mentioned it. Another great supporter. He mentioned this in the chat. He's got 4. He gets booked against, then he's out for United. Oh, actually, I don't know. Actually, Paul, check. Because I think that means he might be out for Carabao Cup and back for United.
Because so he should get one. Do it on purpose.
So
get it out of the way. I would. If
the tactical, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm pretty certain he will be suspended for the Carabao as opposed to United.
No, he will, because it's an FA suspension. So yeah, 100%. I think that's right.
True. So yeah, but if Skip can have a blinder in this game and we get a win, which I think we will actually, I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1, for 2-1. I think that's my prediction as well. I think Spurs 2-1. I think we're going to see more of the Harry Kane we saw last season. I think he's mentally getting past what happened.
I really hope so.
I really see it. Like, I'm not saying that it's perfect that he's going to be like at peaking, but I do think there's confidence from scoring this first goal, which was a wonderful goal, getting another assist, and just the look on his face, his body language. It was like, Harry Kane. He's like, all right, he's accepted his reality. I play for Spurs. I love this team. I love these people. Let's go on and win some games. And it just felt that way against Newcastle. Again, I'm not saying it was perfect. It wasn't like the Harry Kane we know and love, but it was some of it. It was, and it looks like he's going to that.
He's got something to build on.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that, and I think I'm excited to see. I mean, I'm excited. I'm hopeful. Of course, that's always going to be the thing that kills us. But I think the Harry Kane that we know and love is accepted his situation and is going to be like, fuck it, I'm just going to go out and break some records again. And I think this game is a game to do it, right?
2 things I want to quickly bring up. Lappers, I can completely confirm that Levy will not be giving out free Pepsis like the NFL. And I just want to welcome someone very special in the room, which is Simon.
What's up, Simon?
From Premier Hotspur TV. If you're not subscribing to this guy, please go and do so, because this channel is fantastic. And Simon was one of the first people that I actually, apart from We Are Tottenham TV, allowed me onto their channel, and I have so much time for him and Matt. They are a fantastic channel. Everyone go and support Premier Hotspur TV. And Si, we've got to sort out getting you and Matt on the show.
Yeah,
we'll probably be when I'm back in Toronto. We'll sort something out for sure. But 100%. Everyone support Simon because he's fantastic.
Absolutely. Cheers for that, Simon. And looking forward to meeting you for the first time. I know Brian knows you well, but I haven't had a chance, so it'll be nice to have you on. We're an hour in. I think it's a good time to wrap it up. Anything else you feel like you want to add before we go?
No, just to say, obviously, let's hope for 3 points. I don't know if we'll do something on Sunday. Hopefully we will. We'll see, depending on the result. And
timing and results will matter. Yeah.
And also I don't know if on Sunday at the We Are Tottenham TV studio, if this time I'm staying for the fan show. So if I'm staying, that might be a lot later. But let's just hope for 3 points.
And tune into that fan show as well, because I'll probably, if that is happening, I'll probably hop on and we'll do a bit of a Two Brian's collab conversation on We Are Tottenham TV.
There we go. And then, like I said, listen, people that can get down to White Hart Lane for the Man U game, if you can, even if you don't have a ticket, come down, and it'll be the last time I get to meet people. After the game, there's a few of us going out for a meal, so if you want to come and meet us and go out for a meal afterwards, whether you leave you in or leave you out and you just want to come down and say hi, because I've met so many people, even from our subscribers, that have come down during the protest. If you get a chance, it'd be great to put names to the faces, or faces to the names, shall I say. So get down for the Man U game. If you've got a ticket, definitely make sure you come and see me. If you haven't, there's loads of pubs that will be showing it. And if you can get to Tottenham, come and lend your support. And let's just hope Spurs don't have another embarrassing.
I want a performance. I want a performance. That's the main thing. If we lose because they're better than us, then we lose because they're better than us.
Exactly.
If they perform and they go out with heart and soul and they try to win, that's fantastic. Just one last thing. Please like and subscribe our channel as well. Thank you for everybody for being here.
I just want to say one more thing as well.
Go ahead.
One more thing I was about to say. If it is a bad result or a draw and a bad performance, please, people, don't turn on Nuno. Please.
Let's give him some time.
I know a lot of people are already saying, I understand if you don't like the style of football. I understand if you think he's not the right man. I understand all that. But what's going to happen if he gets put under pressure and he goes? No one's going to want to come.
Yeah, we've been through this before.
We don't need to go through it again. Repeat the cycle. Listen, you may not be fully Levy out or believe what we're trying to do. Just don't blame Nuno, because it is not his fault. Like, the only thing I'll say is his fault is games like Crystal Palace, when he didn't make attacking substitution.
Yeah, that's tactical stuff, but he's learning the squad, right? Early doors, right?
That's him. Yeah. Taking this week's squad wasn't his fault. It was his only choice, because he can't trust he can't let it go.
It's the right decision.
Exactly. So please, whatever you do, just think this is not Nuno's fault. He has been put in the firing line.
Difficult situation for sure.
Exactly. So please, guys, I beg of you, whether you leave in or leave out, do not turn on Nuno.
All right. On that note, brother, always a pleasure. Levy out. Thanks for watching, guys. Tottenham on Tour. Like and subscribe. Thanks for being here. We'll see you again soon. Ciao.
Levy out. Tottenham on Tour. Tottenham on Tour.